Ironheart,
Yeah,
because I
let's keep
saw
going.
you
Let's move.
finish that off, and I wanted to get your thoughts. And I gave my thoughts on Ironheart a couple of weeks back, but I'm happy to. I wanted to kind of talk to you about it now that you've seen it, and to see your thoughts on Ironheart as a show and a character.
I'm gonna be honest. I think they took a really good creative change there. I did not expect it to see the way it ended. Now here's a little girl, and she's not really little. I think they could have picked a different actress for it, but she's fine. She's good. Uh, 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 a person who's still grieving over the loss of her dad and her best friend. Uh, this tells us the realities of AI coming into place and doing stuff like this, and how the grieving process is something that's ongoing. It's never, it just stops. It's an ongoing process. Uh, I love the fact that they went magical on us suddenly, and I think nobody was expecting that. But this is a comic book fantasy program. People need to realize that this is not a grounded story. The
Mm.
MCU is not a grounded story. It's a fantasy. You got people in iron suits and magical powers and beyond demons and celestials from space. This is fantasy. How can you have a story be grounded when it's in a reality like that? Now, parts of it can be grounded because of the emotions. But I enjoyed it for what it was, bro. People were talking all sorts of madness. I thoroughly enjoyed every episode. I love the soundtrack, I love the visuals, and I loved the twist, bro. I loved where it ended up, and still not knowing what that last decision was as well.
Mm. That,
Mephisto, we finally got him, bro. In
yeah,
something that we didn't think we'd get him in.
expect,
We all
yeah.
said it was going to be Wanda. We said it was going to be Agatha. I still haven't watched Agatha. Does it make a difference if I've not seen that?
Probably not. Nah.
Okay,
I
I'll
mean,
leave it
look,
then.
it's all MCU. So yes, in some fraction of the MCU, Wonder Story or whatever, yes, in some aspect of it. So
Okay, all right.
yeah.
I still give it a go. I still need to make time to watch it. I still ain't finished the what ifs, but listen, Ironheart, I fully enjoyed. Is a mantelpiece moving on to another character, which I think is really important in passing the baton on to the next generation. Yeah, I think for me as a creative, it really struck home because I know a lot of people are like, they don't know what to say, and we're we've become we're getting more separated with the way the world is at the moment as well. But if you haven't read the comics, even if you haven't read the comics and you don't enjoy the fact that sometimes things need to be moved on and things have changed in the world as well, I think it has a great story about pain, grieving, moving on, trying to make the right decisions, and that we're not perfect as human beings. We're going to make different decisions and different situations are going to happen. But, we end up coming back to the root cause of why I got into this and why I started this. And I think even for our journey, like doing the podcast to what it was, to what it became, to where we were heading with it, to now restructuring and coming back to a different point to it. I think it's important that you were going to be all learning on our journey. I think that's what Ironheart showed to me as a TV show, as a new character into the MCU to learn more about a character, to learn that all superheroes are not perfect.
Look, man, I on my review a couple of weeks back, I started with the same that actually I ended up enjoying it, and I was actually genuinely surprised when I got to the end of the show, and I was like, oh my God, I actually genuinely enjoyed it, and I really like Ironheart's character. I still think that they should not have brought her into Black Panther. I think it contradicts what I said earlier about bringing in characters, but I just think her entry into Black Panther wasn't the best, right? Because after that movie, I didn't really care about her. But then after
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
show, I was more interested in her because it gave me about her past, the grievance, and all that sort of stuff. And that's something that you can relate to on a human level. And it just kind of showed how intelligent she was, you know. But by the end of the show, I was like, man, I was enjoyable. And I really liked Red Hood. I thought he was awesome. Like, I wanted more
Mm.
of him. You know what I mean? I'm going to be very honest. Like, same thing I said on the review before. Like, listen, and I think I made a statement before, which I should retract. I should say I think I was wrong. I think I said something about Robert Downey Jr. which I don't think he said. I don't know. It didn't look like he did. But people did make the statement though that saying if you don't like this show, you're racist. I still stand by saying that that's a silly statement to make. Like if you don't like the show because it's for colored people and that's why you don't like it, then yes, you're racist. But if you have valid reasons why you don't like the show because of the story or all that sort of stuff, then okay, you could be critical of it, right? So I do stand by that. And I'm not gonna lie,
Mm.
bro. The show started off, and Ironheart herself, Red Hood, I had no issues with, right? But immediately the gang that the Red Hood gang or whatnot, when you watch it immediately, and I've been saying this before, and I've been very critical of the whole DEI movement or whatnot. When you see that, you immediately like, all right, they're just ticking all the DEI boxes here, right? And I was like, that was my first impression. Now, by the end of the show, they all kind of died off or whatever, and you don't give a shit about them. And this is where I say, like, this whole DEI movement, I think you're disrespecting it more because you're making unforgettable, shitty characters with bit different backgrounds or whatnot. You should. My point of DEI is that if you're going to put someone in there from a certain background or whatever, make them lovable, make them enjoyable, right? If you just putting them in there as background characters and they get killed off and no one cares about them, I think that's more of a disrespect and you're pushing audience away. So that was my thoughts on that. And that's why I immediately watched the show and I was like, oh, you guys are just ticking all the boxes. Now, by the end of the show, again, I don't give a shit about none of those characters, but I did come to enjoy and like Ironheart, man. And that was the whole point of the show. You know what I mean? Like to get this new character out there and hopefully introduce her to the MCU in a certain way. I did have like, in regards to her story, I was thinking like, I think I made comments about her constantly kind of like, Tony Stark's a billionaire, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, well, my guy made things in the cave with scraps, you know what I mean? And all that sort of stuff. Like, so stop picking on him because he's a billionaire. Stop picking on that, right? And I countered it by saying you have friendships with Wakandans, you know what I mean? Like the richest in the they're trillionaires or whatnot, and they came to you for help in Black Panther. So the least you could do is pick up the phone and say, "Hey guys, can you help me? Like, I want to build this project and whatnot. I want to help people out here and whatnot." So the least you could do is that, right? Rather than because you got trillionaire friends. I know you're picking on Stark, he's because he's a billionaire, but you had trillionaire friends with the Wakandans who owe you a favor in a way, man. I believe they came to you for help and stuff. So I felt that was a little bit weak in the sense of her excuse. But also, like, one thing I like, and I know she's flawed. I know we all as human beings are flawed, but I just kept them like, I really feel like they really made her flawed in the sense of like, joining a gang and doing bad stuff. And I'm like, nah, man, I feel like, I don't think that for me was like, I get it, man. Circumstances puts you in positions, but I was like, man, why are you so flawed that you're joining a gang? You're a good person. You built the Iron Man suit. The Iron Man suit represents something. And you said you wanted to do it to protect your family and you build something iconic, but then immediately you're attaching it to criminals and whatnot. And I was like, why are you falling down that line? At least fly to the Avengers or okay, they're not around anymore, but find something, man. Spider-Man's around or Hogan's around or something, and just say, hey guys, like I wanna be a part of this or whatnot. I don't know. That's an easy story to tell, but my point is like there was in my opinion, there was just too much attachment to going the wrong path than it was like trying to find the right path. Like she eventually finds the right path. Don't get me wrong. But that was just my thing. Like go to the Wakandans, man. They're your trillionaire friends. Um, but yeah, no, overall though, like I said, I came out the show and I was enjoying it. And I had no issues with the magical stuff. And as you said, this is the MCU, man. There could be a freaking dinosaur around and I would have no issues because I'm just like, all right, well, this is the MCU. Like this is comic book stuff. Anything is possible here. So I don't have no expectations just because it's like an Ironheart show. It only has to be around Ironheart suits or whatever. No, like black magic, demon magic, whatever magic, space, anything can be involved. But I generally, yeah, like I said, at the end of it's enjoyable. A lot of forgettable characters that which I think drawn a lot of people away, and I don't think you should do that. Obadiah's son was in it. He's also a little bit forgettable. It was cool that it was in it, and those connections were cool. I was really enjoying those connections. That's what got me into it. But I do believe he's forgettable, and I'm not really interested in seeing him anymore. But at the end, I am interested in seeing Red Hood. I don't know if he's gonna come back, but I thought he was cool. I wish we got more of him and more gun cutter with him because he's got like infinity bullets and he can control the bullets and shit. That would have been better scenes. We didn't see much of that. And I am looking forward to seeing what Riri does. I do think her end suit was a bit too bulky, looked almost like a CW show suit, in my opinion. I do think they should
Mm.
have gone with a sleeker suit, but maybe in the future they will do that and whatnot. So I'll wait and see. But like again, it's not one of my favorites. I'll give it a good like 5.5 in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really enjoy Agatha from my opinion. Like I would never, I don't care about Agatha and that whole crew at all. But this one, I'm like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Riri again. I genuinely would like to see her in the MCU again. It doesn't have to be her own show, but just kind of showing up in things. I actually do care. So that's the whole point of this show. Personally, for me, you made me care about Riri. So yeah, generally okay. And see, let's see what they do with Mephisto. Like, let's see what they
No,
generally do
100%,
with him.
bro.
Yeah.
Let's see what
All
they
right.
do. Sasha Bowen, Zionist, Fool.
Yeah,
Let's see what it
bastards.
does, bro.
I know. Anyway, guys, that was our review for Ironheart. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it. I
Any
might put
abuse,
this.
sorry.
I
Any
will
random
listen.
abuse, sorry, bro.
You know what, bros? Listen, I have no sympathy. I heard that Gal Gadot fool, damn fool, talking some shit, saying that fuck her. And let's not get into that.